Austin says I need to be documenting this and that I should be talking to the camera. So this is my 69 Camaro. We took it to Power Tour in 2017 and we broke the transmission. Afterwards, made it all the way there and back. We have a 427 to put in it and a whole lot of work to make it nice. We also have a T56 to put in it instead of the T5 out of an S10 that we broke. But right now we're going to take the small block out and then we're going to take out the transmission. It already has a 9-inch Ford in it with a triangulated 4-link. Coilover QA1s in the rear. So right now we're taking the small block out, we're taking the transmission out, and then we can work over everything else. The small block is going in a customer's C10. Obviously, so you can afford to put the big block stuff in. But here we go. I'm going to do a time lapse and start tearing into it. Okay, let's document a few things. Good and bad. Mainly bad about my poor old Camaro. First off, when we took this on Power Tour in 2017, we had a 12-day build to slap it together and get it rolling, because it had been sitting in our side yard for a long time. So to get it sit the way I wanted, because it was 12 days, I took a torch to the springs. I didn't cut them, I just heated them. Still, I know that's not the way to do it. I was in a hurry. We did this for exhaust, right? And it's not bad for 1970s era, the way you do that crap. But it's not good either. We built the cross member, put the T5 in it. Again, it was one out of an S10, right? Because I didn't want to drive from Idaho to Indianapolis with a Muncie. I just wanted an overdrive. So we did that. Now, obviously, this car has seen some loving, some abuse since, and I bought it this way. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that needs to be fixed. Like now I've worked for a restoration shop for 9 years, and this kind of stuff that I fixed just so we could go. Yeah, we're putting floor in it. This side isn't bad. This was an eBay buy, all of these, which worked, but the bushings that are in here are rubbery, not really good bushings, and I think we beat the crap out of them on the way there and back. Because if I know there's one that flops around and hits stuff, I think it's these up here, the short ones. We beat the crap out of them. If you notice, we mangled the floor to get that stuff in there. 12-day build, 12-day build. I used all the scraps I could use to make some sort of exhaust hanger. I think we're a little close there. I didn't even notice that. Probably did back then, but it's been a day or two since I've been under here. So the QA1s, not adjustable. They're just, not dampening adjustable. They're just, again, off the, and we stayed with drum brakes because we were in a hurry. And I did mini tub it, and it's not pretty, but it will be when I'm done. I see I put a hose on there. I don't know where the end went, but it's gone. Yeah. All this stuff was off of the internet. See, here's the date we put it together. Oh, I forgot to put it. I got a drain. Yay. And then I did this nice little bracket montage. So when we do a floor, I'll probably go all the way up in and around. There's our fuel line. Again, hurry up, get it done. All of this stuff's gonna be addressed. Like, look at that. Wow. Okay. Yeah, there's the speedo cable right there, which does not hook up to right there. So we use the GPS in our phones. Yeah, it's got all that for clutch leverage stuff going on, which it won't have when we're done. It'll be a hydraulic. Yeah. Believe it or not, as crusty and gross as this is looking now that I'm under here, however many years later, this thing drove really nice, even with the coils lowered. Now you'll notice there's not a radiator in it, because last week we went to Big Sky Race Week, which is Austin's event, and we run that. And that radiator is now in that yellow thing out there, because it was bigger than the radiator that was in it. And we'll be putting a bigger one in here for the big block. So I figured we're gonna share. Yeah. This is our adapter plate. Go from here to the Muncie bell housing. So, because this did have a Muncie in it, I just didn't think it was good to drive it that far without a fifth gear. And I remember hitting something here in the road. Yeah. Poor old girl. Well, that's what we're starting with. And if we look at it from here, that is on there is just an epoxy sealer primer that has been out in the sun. And this is why you don't just use epoxy sealer primer for your cars unless you put paint over it. Because you can see all the rain and all the stuff that's come down. And obviously I didn't give much care, because you can see the crack in the door right there, which tells me that 90% of that door is probably mud, because 90% of this quarter here, I know for a fact, is mud. It's all bondoed. But at the time we didn't care. We didn't bondo it, somebody else did. We weren't gonna fix that. We were just gonna go have fun with the car. And we did. It was a hoot. And here's where I can tell you why I know it's mud. Because look at that. Yeah, and we just primered right over that. Because we were like, don't have time to fix that. And there, nice rusty spot, you know. But since then, like I said, I've been at a restoration shop for 9 years. And putting quarters on things is not a scary thing for me anymore. And you walk up here, I mean, there's all this kind of stuff that is just peeling off. It says it's time. Those fenders all caved in weird places. If you look eyeball down it, it comes in here and out. And you can see why. Because it's been hurt. And all of this is mud. That other fender is not. That other fender Actually, they lost the front tire. That's one of the reasons I got the car. The tire shop didn't put lug nuts on right. They lost about a block away from the tire shop. They lost the front tire, and it has a new fender on it. So that fender was always black instead of the maroon that it was. The car started out as a Hugger orange car. Then it went to a blue. Then it went to a maroon color. And by the time I got it, the maroon color was all the clear was peeling off it. And as we sanded it, it became pink. And I was not driving that to wherever we were going at the time. Oh, that fender is good fender. That door is not. And the other door is not. I mean, look at this. Let's get close. See the crack? That's all Bondell. All of it. Mind you, there were some artists. They were making stuff look like it had, you know, shape. And then we'll get to a certain point and stop, so it's not all the way on the ground. And here's the inside, small block, which I never took the motor out of this. We changed the valve covers because it was easier to throw a set of cheap valve covers on it than it was to clean the other ones up. We had a clutch fan on it. We had a radiator. This thing stayed cool. It was great. Yeah. No, if you notice, no heater hooked up. Yep. So we had no defrost. You also notice there's no windshield wiper motor in there because on our way there, that's one thing I didn't test, and I hit the windshield wipers and they went straight up and stayed. So at one point in the trip, we took the motor out, and it's around here somewhere, I don't know where. And we tied the old Boy Scout string to it, and then we Rain-X'd the bejesus out of that windshield. But if you look, there's a crack right there. There's all cracks in here. All of this is cracked Bondo. All of here just coming off. Right? This was one of Austin's very first Bondo try to fix things. Doesn't look bad for what it is. And then that. Remember, 12 days, so I was in a hurry. Had to cover up some holes, use some oil pans. There's actually two pieces that silicone on right here so I can get in there and attach, get the front and the top shocks on and off. But that will be being redone and made decent, nice and square and flat across there and cut out for room. There's actually also a hole in the fuel tank that is fixed with a little bit of soap. Yeah, so well, this looks kind of good, but I'm gonna have to get in there and fix some of the stuff that I was in a hurry to do before we left, because again, 12 days of hurry up and mini tub it, put the triangulated 4-link stuff in it, put the transmission in it, scuff it all over, primer it, make the tail lights work, put it all back together. Oh, and we had to put tires on it too. These tires, wheels and tire combination, I like, but they were for my 84 Camaro. So the front offset on the front wheel is off just enough that it needs to slide back that way a little bit. The offset does, just so it clears right here a lot better. I had to take the bolt out. There's a bolt that goes right here, holding the fender well in. I had to take it out or I would have been losing the tire. So we'll go to get new front wheels by the time we're done doing this. Same style. I actually like these on here. Besides that, I don't think I could afford the ones that I really like. They're stupid money anymore. So there we are. Now we will be taking all of this apart. I'm not going to completely disassemble the car right now. I'm just going to take the motor out. So I'm going that C10 I have outside for a customer, because the motor's good. But what am I going to do with the small block Chevrolet? I got several of them around here, and this one is not a special kin to the motor or to the car. It's not numbers, none of that. It was in the 80s they put it in. It was a crate motor, truck motor from one of the dealers, and they just kind of threw it in here. So it runs well, but there's no camshaft in it. There's no headwork done to it. There's none of that stuff. It's just a flat out straight little motor from GM to go in your C10, right? So that's what it's going to go back into, is a C10. And then we will clean all this up and repaint and redo some stuff in here, and new A-arms, new front suspension parts, blah 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 blah, and then set a big block in here. Funny story is that brake assembly there came out of my 69 Camaro. Well, it was my dad's 69 Camaro that I drove as a race car when I was 16, 17, 18, 19. Anyways, yeah. As a stocker, an F-stock automatic 69 Camaro. It was a big block car, 3.25 horse, 396. So I've been around these a long time. I know what it's going to take to put the big block in it. And I think we might go like a Southern Air or something in there instead of all of that. Only do this just so we have room, and we got to have air to go on these drag and drives. I have decided that I'm too old to not have it. But there we are. Hopefully by next year, this time I'm telling you guys that we're driving out the driveway, heading, or by now we should be back. Taking this to Big Sky Race Week. Maybe putting new stickers on the side of the door of this instead of on the side of the door of my pickup. You know, who knows? Or the back quarter panel, or, you know, maybe somewhere a little cooler than the side of the door, which is awesome on a 56 pickup. It's great. But on this, I think it'd look better, different. So, what is today? June 24th? So today of June 24th or June 25th, what is it? It's Thursday, so it's the 25th, I think. No, it's Wednesday. It is the 25th. Wednesday. June 25th, 2025. We're starting. Hallelujah. It's going to get some Willwood stuff put to it. We're going to change the pedals. It is a, 4-speed car originally from the factory. We're going to change the pedals so we have all the hydraulic stuff for the hydraulic clutch in the T56 that is right there. And it might go together like that, or it might go to Tick Performance and then come back with some really cool stuff done to it. Or use that as a core for them, something like that. So, Austin was talking that we should LS swap it, and LS would be a good deal. But I think we're going to start out with the 427 I have built back there that needs a camshaft. And now that we've had some sponsors run around on Big Sky Race Week, I think we're going to go with a particular brand of camshaft, concerning the one that's in there died on the dyno within 10 minutes. So it's a new 427 that has to become taken all the way apart, cleaned, checked all the bearings, put all back together with a new roller camshaft because we had a flat tap at one end. Now we're gonna go roller. And it's only a 9-to-1 motor, but that lets me have room for some turbos, I think, is what the plan might be. Yeah. It's just cooler to open the hood of a 69 Camaro and have a big block sitting in it than an LS. Mind you, an LS is still cool. I understand that. But being an old guy, yeah, I like the big block. Cool. All right. Back to tearing it apart. Okay, now that we have it out, I have to take the bell housing off because we have this adapter plate on it here for the T5 out of like an 85 S10. It was easier to take it off that way when it was hanging underneath the car, considering there's only 2 bolts left holding it on. And in our previous experience to power tour, we lost a bolt out of one of these and it shot out of there and came through the bell housing. Yeah, that right there is why we now have a scatter shield for the next motor that's going on here instead of the cast aluminum. So we'll take bell housing off, all the clutch off, all the flywheel off. Yeah, flywheel off. Stick it on the engine stand and park it over there somewhere and wait. I'll change the oil and stuff in it. And then we'll get the square body. We got an 82 short box 4-wheel drive Chevrolet that we have to swap a motor in. And this is a good motor, there's nothing wrong with it. But we're putting a 427 in that. So what am I gonna do with this? So I sold it to the guy to fix his problem. He's got a myriad of problems, but one of the things is it sounds like there's a mule in the mule kicking a tin door in the oil pan of that motor. So I'm assuming it's a rod knock. So we're just gonna swap him out and he'll have a good one to drive around and use that one for. And it's also a standard, so that's great here because we'll use all the bushing and all the stuff we'll be able to stay in the crankshaft of this. It'll be perfect. But we'll use his flywheel because his clutch and stuff is all works together with that, right? Because it's worn together. But that's what we'll do right now, is take all this off and get it on the engine stand. Yes, I'm being lazy, but I have air tools. what I'm going to use them. Ooh. Yeah, we kind of messed up that clutch. Whoa. Hey, getting down here like this isn't as easy as it used to be. Getting down's not bad, it's getting back up that's the hard part. So you need to fix the end of the impact. New clip, retainer clip in that thing. Someone says I should have taken that one out last. Oh yeah, we have clutch coming apart. I thought so. That's the last time I drove this thing. Okay. Oh, it's the great thing about taking motors out. There's always a surprise. Yep. There's a washer over there somewhere. There it is. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Looks like we might be putting new bushing. Yeah. Putting new bushing into this crankshaft. Just by looking at it. Ooh, there's a whole bunch of copper laying everywhere. We'll put a bearing in place of it. I said getting back up is the hard part. All right. See? Stop wiggling. Oh yeah. My clutch guys guy's gonna laugh at that when he sees that. Mind you, we bought this car. We did nothing with the motor other than spark plugs, spark plug wires, new water pump. And we put the T5 in it versus the Muncie. We didn't do anything with that either. We just figured out what spline it was. We didn't take the clutch apart. We just took the bell housing off, sent that to my dad, had him build the adapter, and away we went. Didn't really have to build much of the adapter here. He had one built for another job that never happened, so we just used it. You believe I had to pay him for that? I'm not sure. That's okay. I don't mind that. You're gonna fall out again. I can see it. Mind you, we broke stuff with this little small block. That's why earlier today, I've made some phone calls. Art Morrison for some rear triangulated 4-link bars. You know, I know all the stuff it needs. It's just time to start doing that. Voila. It is now on the engine stand. It's now ready to go. It's out. It's time to start doing stuff with that for the customer. Push it out, push this out. Already washed it off, put the hood back on it, push it out and put it in the race car trailer. And when we're done with some customer stuff and can spend some money, we'll start attacking this. But there it is.